On his debut, Jarno Uppbeat wins at Spa.
It's Martinez in Montreal. David beats Goliath.
It's a true underdog story. John Evans wins at Mexico.
And it's Super Sam Corby who takes the PlayStation Championship.
FRA Ronhard takes his first WOR Championship. He is your Xbox champion.
And Jake Benham is a two-time WOR champion.
Stop it! Around the outside operation! Line shadow is contact again. Ronhard is around.
Melanie, surely it's going to win here at Abu Dhabi. He does!
15 races across 5 continents. From Brazil to Belgium and Bahrain to Britain. Soon this story starts. Across 3 platforms, hundreds will begin the quest. The quest in search of glory and the right to be called a WOR champion. Lights out, and we're racing in Season 12.
Good evening, everybody, and we are underway for WOR Season 12, Round 4, the Austrian Grand Prix. I'm joined, as per usual, by Beacon. Beacon, welcome to the 4th round of this incredible season that we've got so far. We've not really had much chance to look at the standings. Might be able to have a look at it in a little bit, but were we expecting Finn and Alfie to be the top 2?
Well, first of all, hello everyone. Pleasure to be back. Did miss last week. Sorry about that. But yes, honestly, if you said at the start of the year that the top 2 that we have now in the standings would be the case, you know, maybe after 1 round, maybe a push after 2, you'd be thinking, I mean, it's unlikely, but okay. But we are heading now into the 4th round today with, yeah, absolutely a top 2 you would not predict at the start.
Yeah, it's been an action-packed, incident-packed season, and it's only been 3 rounds. It's absolutely crazy. But we are here for the Austrian Grand Prix. There's a few cars out on track. I think Clenzo and Matthew already ready to set. But however, I'm on board with Choco to see what this man can do. As Austrian tracks go, obviously last season we had some interesting things happen. And Chile, that's going to be a big talking point, Chile into turn 3. Hopefully that is not going to happen this season, tonight. But that turn 3 is going to be a massive call for action in tonight's race, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's something with turn 3. It's such a heavy braking zone. You're going from such high speeds to almost nothing as you hit that hairpin. It's just such a tight corner, and yeah, we're definitely going to see. Look, I would put a lot of money on us seeing a collision or 2 down there today. So all the drivers obviously are going to try to avoid it, but sometimes, you know, especially if you're trying to make a dive on someone ahead of you, it's actually possible to clip the driver then 2 places ahead. So you've got to be really careful. It's a really fun corner, and as well, we've got a really fun mix of strategy with these tyres at the moment, don't we?
Yeah, there's plenty to offer. I mean, I would almost guarantee people throwing on the softs. Choco actually very, very close on those mediums compared to everyone else around him at the moment. But those times are bound to fall.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily the best thing to start in the top 10 at Austria because of the track being so short.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an interesting one, but equally it's one of the tracks where if you're going to qualify on the mediums and get into the top 10, this is probably one of the top ones. You know, Harvey, Placky putting in brilliant lap times at the moment on their mediums. They're P2, P3, you've got Choco then, P5. Albeit they're not against many soft runners, and Alfie does have that gap. But yeah, it really is a good opportunity here, and in a way, qualifying's not particularly important. Obviously, it's going to help, I think, especially if you're at the front of the grid. It's very important whether you're, let's say, first or fifth. But if you're right at the back and you've got the race pace, you can easily work your way right up into the sort of higher points paying positions. So that'll be, you know, I do think someone will definitely give that a go.
Now Shadow has invalidated his first lap, and that's one driver we're definitely going to keep an eye on today. A lot of drivers putting a second lap on the softs, and you know, well, at Austria it's not so vital to save tyres in your qualifying. These guys are obviously going to go quicker, but they're not. It's not as a higher danger track as others.
No, it's not at all. You know, like you said, the track's so short. The wear that you're getting isn't particularly high. And yeah, that's what makes it pretty interesting in the qualifying session. You really can get 2 or even 3 at a push laps in on a single set of tyres. So yeah, this is going to be one of the most action-packed qualifying sessions of the season for sure, because you know, you can do 4 one-lap softs in a row. It's a real fun one.
Now, early doors, who do you reckon is going to take pole position here? I'm just on board with Chile, who's only managed a 130 and then really struggled through turn 1. So something he's got to work on there. But let's go on Buraps and see what he can do as he's purple in sector 1. But yeah, your guess for pole. I mean, I know we've got 12 minutes until we find out, but surely you've got a word on the tip of your tongue.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I don't know how bold to be here, because Alfie at the moment doing really well. He's consistently in the session so far, and all the early laps had over a 10th on everyone else. But we haven't seen a time from Square yet, have we? And we know he absolutely can and probably will be up there. So I'm gonna go with Alfie for now, but I am not sure how right that's gonna turn out to be.
You know what? I think it's going to be outside of the norm. Obviously, no Finn this week.
Yeah,
he's not here. But you know, I'm looking at someone. We had a surprise winner in the McLaren of Bartak last season. I think we're going to have something similar in the qualifying of this. And you know what? I'm going to back Shadow's teammate to claim pole here. And I think Zach might do something special.
That's an interesting one. That would be more than fun, I think. But yeah, it's sort of. I think we're seeing a bunch of the medium runners at the start now going on to the soft tyres. Dark was giving it another go on the mediums, but he invalidated at turn 1, just running a little bit wide. So I think that's the end of those tyres as he now comes back out on the softs as well. But Placky, he's got half a tenth just basically through turn 1 alone. It is sector 1, but it is literally just turn 1. That's the only corner you have to contend with.
Yes, I mean overall you can pick up some corner cutting quite a lot on this track, and this is something that these guys have got to worry about. The exits of the final corner is huge. Choco then going P2, fastest third sector of all, but going purple. So he's got some pace about him today, that Mercedes driver. I mean, yeah, sorry, going back to my original plot, which was corner cutting and track extending. Is that something that's going to be huge when it comes down to deciding who's going to win this race tonight?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It is such an easy track, especially turn 1. You really need to look out for the track limits, and especially as well through the last 2 corners. Both of them very, very easy to run wide and pick up a penalty. And the thing is, with a final corner, you could theoretically pick up 3 on 1 lap. If you run a little bit wide, track extend a little bit on the entry, you cut the apex and then run wide on the exit. It's a really brutal corner, and all 3 easily possible. I doubt anyone's going to manage that, but definitely 1 or 2 will be picking up a lot of warnings. And I'd be surprised if we see many drivers in this race not picking up a 3-second penalty. So really, it's going to come down to an extent, how many you pick up.
Yeah, I think you're right. But I'm sure there's going to be someone out there who will just do what they have to do to be clean, steady, not pick up any penalties, and that might might save him a few positions, get himself up there. Instead of say P7, they end up P3, and that could, it might not mean much at round 4, but come the end of the season, that could be absolutely huge.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how many times have we seen that in the past? You know, we've had races last season where the championship was so close it could have swung either way, and both of the championship contenders having bad races, and they could say, like, arguably it could have cost them. So it really is. Every single race is just as important as the other. The stakes may be higher at the end, but you need to get the maximum performance from each one. And at the moment, Alfie's doing a pretty good job in this qualifying session, but Oxtead's putting himself right now up into P2.
I'm not sure what happened to Matthew. WR Matthew was really quick, got somewhere, and I don't know if I just took my blinked or something, but then he was facing backwards going down the start-finish straight. So I'm not sure what happened there. Square throws himself into P5. Viper then coming through Sector 2. What can the Alfa Romeo driver do? And he invalidates straight away. The curse of water has struck again. Bourbon then filling in for Findium. And he's struggled a little bit. The back end out of 3 was massively squirmy, and I just don't think he had enough grip there. Alfie goes even quicker still, a 103.007.
He's not in the Aston Martin, unfortunately, but that is a really good lap, and he's now got 3/10 on Oxtead here. Can't really see how much are people improving by. Wilson's about half a tenth up through Sector 1, so this will be enough, you know, if he can find another tenth or two to maybe get ahead of the likes of Square and Cleanso and Choco. But it's really so close behind Alfie. Unfortunately, Alfie's got a pretty big gap. But apart from that, the field is absolutely stacked at the moment. And yeah, this could be good. Still haven't seen a lap from Shadow. Chile can, I think, go slightly quicker than 27 seconds off the pace, so that'll be interesting. Connor is starting a lap now, and yeah, I think we've got everyone who was on the medium tyres now out on the softs as well. So maybe we're going to see the likes of Viper, Harvey really chucking it up the top end.
Now, I've noticed that there are... We mentioned about track extending and corner cutting. A lot of drivers have got red on that track map, and that's not what they want at all. And, you know, they could start lower down. We could see the likes of, I don't know, Chile, Shadow, starting lower than we would expect. And here's Choco, who's just dropped off his lap. So he wasn't happy. Placky then. Let's see what the McLaren driver can do. I don't think there's anyone else ready on a lap just yet. But, you know, Alfie... at the moment has set good lap times without invalidating, but Harvey's thrown himself up into P6 with a second lap on those softs, so they're managing to get there. But the more Alfie just keeps things clean and gets that lap in without invalidating, the better it is for Alfie. But some of these other guys are going to have to really start pushing.
Oh, that's that lap gone for Placky as well. He just ran a little bit wide right at the start of Sector 3 here, and that is how quickly this lap could go. To be fair, I forgot to mention that section of corners as well for track limits. Basically, every corner on this track, you can probably manage to pick up a warning for track limits. It is a very, very punishing track. You need to be right on the line as well. Viper, he's just about to warm up for a lap. He's got a little bit of traffic ahead of him in dark, but he lets him go, so they're not going to be fighting for track position at the moment. So that'll be an interesting one to watch, because he's quite low down at the moment. He'll be looking to improve for sure. And Shadow, he's invalidated, I believe, at turn 1, so that Shadow having to wait a little bit longer. He's on the medium tyres as well. Very importantly, Shadow on those medium tyres, yet to set a lap. So is he going to throw a bit of a strategic spanner into the works?
We've seen him do some incredible things in the past, and I've been keeping an eye out on the chat, and someone has said that they reckon Shadow can throw a top 5 on the medium, so we'll have to wait and see. But Burap's coming through that the end of Sector 2 into Sector 3 as he comes and absolutely hoons it down, is the only way I can describe it, into these last 2 corners. Really nice and tidy from the McLaren driver. Will he be able to do anything big here? It's only P9. He displaces his teammate from that place, but it looked a lot quicker than it was. Dark Killer on a lap. Purple in Sector 2, so he's finding his feet a little bit. We haven't seen the best of this Williams driver yet. I'm desperate to see him do better than we've seen, and I think he's got it in him to do it, but it's just trying to find that confidence, I think.
As very neat final couple of corners. This should be good enough to move him up a couple of places. It absolutely is. He goes up into P4. But it's still a quarter of a second off of Alfie's pace. Alfie putting in an absolutely monster shift at the moment. He's doing a brilliant job. And it's looking there's not really anyone out there who's able to challenge him. It's going to take one hell of a lap.
Yeah, Square though, I know we can expect more from Square, but he hasn't gone back out. Matthew is on a lap. I think Zach has invalidated his lap time, so I can't really see the timing. It's still yellow in sector 2. We've got 3 minutes 47 left, so plenty of times for these guys. You know, not usually we would say this, but plenty of times for these guys to set another lap time, and Matthew has given up on his lap. What can Shadow do as he rounds it through on those medium compound tyres? The favourite for the title at the beginning of the season, coming across the line, it is P3. Wow.
Brilliant lap, absolutely brilliant lap. To be only 2/10 off of Alfie on soft tyres. Shadow, I think he may be wanting to get a little bit higher in those championship standings.
Yes, and he's going to get, well, points off of Finn this week for certain. Findium is obviously not racing, so he's got, is it 27 points behind at the moment? The only one he really has to worry about is Alfie. Beat Alfie on track, and he claimed, well, he can catch a few people. Let's go on board with Connor. I think he's invalidated his lap. Who else is ready to set one? It's a Red Bull by the looks of things. It could very well be Zach, who's going to set a lap time. Will he gut dart into the pits? Will he set a lap time? He goes into the pit lane, which is rather typical of my commentary.
You tried to big it up, always goes wrong. Kenzo coming round the final corner. Now this should be a decent time by the looks of it, getting right on the edge, and he moves up into P4, so not too bad at all, just about pipping Oxtez to 4th place. So yeah, that's a pretty good lap for Kenzo. I think to summarise it, his goal for this race that he put on Twitter was to finish. I think we'll word it. He's not had the greatest last couple of races.
Shadow retires from the session in P3. The other guy's just setting out lap times now. Shadow is happy with that, and to be honest, I would be more than happy with that lap time on the set of mediums. Mel then coming through. I believe WR Math. Oh, it's a little bit of a tank slapper there from the Aston Martin driver. I think Wilson is on a lap just ahead of him, but Mel at the moment, and he invalidates. I really have a curse on some of these people, as Wilson has invalidated Bourbon. Let's see what he can do coming through. There's not much left of qualifying to go, is there? 1 minute 27 seconds. Alfie is on a lap somewhere on track. I think it's just behind Bourbon boy. So that is going to be an interesting one for certain. I mean, I thought Zach would be a little bit higher up, but at the moment P5. Do you think there would be teamwork between him and Shadow with the alternate strategy that is definitely on play between the two of them tonight?
Well, it's definitely possible, and it is worth giving it a go, especially considering Shadow's probably not going to be quite as fast off the start here. It's really going to depend on how quickly he can get the delta between those soft and medium tyres, and how quickly he can get them up to temperature as well. I think that's Bourbon Boy just going P4. Good lap there. Only a quarter of a second off of the pace, but yeah, I'll be interested to see what Zach can come out with here, because if he can get ahead of Shadow, then yeah, I think it's absolutely potential later on in the race.
So Alfie invalidated his lap time. He's going again by the looks of things, but what can Choco do in the Mercedes coming through this final sector? There's a Red Bull just pulled over to the side. I think that's probably Zach letting some of these drivers through. It's looking pretty solid through that final corner, and not too much of the curb on the exit. So Choco, can he go any faster? He does not.
Yeah, not the perfect lap there. He's 2 seconds off in the end, so yeah, just not able to hook it up. But he's giving it another go again. Barlux, his DRS is still going. He's still got his DRS on, so he's gonna have to give it another go, unfortunately. Bourbon Boy, he's not going for it this lap. That is his qualifying session over. Oxtez, he's starting his lap through sector 1 now. He's only 2 thousandths up, so he's had a good run up. And Dark going up into P6 as well. But Square only managing what is currently P9, probably going to end up being outside the top 10 by the end of this session.
Oh, and there's an Alpha around at the last corner. Invalidation for Placky because of it. I'm not sure which Alfa Romeo it is. Just saw it in the background, and an invalidation from Burraps as well. Viper's on a lap, he's invalidated. And into the pits, WR Matthew then coming through. He could very well be the next driver to set a top lap time, as there's a Mercedes just parked on the corner of the double left-hander there. But here comes WR Matthew, currently P17, trying to set a lap time on the medium compound tyres, and he's taken too much of the inside curve there on the final corner.
Oh no! Hogstez at the final corner invalidating. Not what he wanted at all. It probably would have been enough to put him right around where Shadow is as well.
And I think that is qualifying over and done with. What a crazy... I mean, it didn't seem to really... The times didn't tumble at the end like I usually expect.
No. There was a lot of mistakes, a lot of corner cutting, and it just... I think for a lot of drivers they could be really frustrated, because that absolutely is a lot more time in this grid and a lot more time that's probably available in their session. But it just hasn't gone well for really anyone on their final run. Harvey did really well. He's got P4. He's probably going to be one of the happiest, along with Bourbon Boy as well. Both of them putting a great performance in. And Shadow is going to be sitting there with a big grin on his face right now, because I don't think he'd have expected P3 on those medium tyres.
P3 on media. He's gonna be a little bit swamped at the end, but let's have a quick rundown of this order. It's Alfie and Pole with Choco in second place alongside him. The second row of the grid is Shadow and Harvey. That is going to be interesting. Both challengers this week as well, I believe. Bourbon Boy and Clenzo in 5th and 6th respectively there. 7th is Darkler Zach in 8th. 9th is Square and WR Wilson rounds out the top 10. In 11th is Bobberts with Broken alongside him. 13th is Placky Burraps in 14th. 15th is Viper. Melon 16th. 17th is Matthew. Chili in 18th. He wasn't able to really do much in the end. Connor in 19th and Moritz serving his qualifying ban in 20th place there. Now, just a quick word before we go through and do the track rundown here, but I mean, this sets it up rather well and excitingly because of Shadow's position there, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. He's going to have some absolutely mega pace at the end of this race. The question is, how much is he going to lose before he gets that lovely advantage of those soft tyres? We're going to have to wait and see, but it should be a fun one.
Right then, let us go down and have a look. Here we are, round 4 of WR Season 12. We're up in the Styrian Mountains for the Austrian Grand Prix in Spielberg. I don't know about you guys, but I am pumped for this one. Amazingly, Jack Benham's last victory was here 10 races ago, his longest winless streak to date, while on the Xbox side of things, Bartak claimed an incredible victory last season. 36 laps of this 2.6 mile circuit, 3 to the left, 7 to the right, with 3 DRS zones to aid in overtaking. Watch out for the bravest of the late breakers into turns 1, 3 and 4. Now, we've some incredible names on this previous winners list, but let's have a look at some awesome driving, especially from the Super Sam Corby. Up the inside of turn 4 on Tom Robbo, and then leading into the outside of turn 5. A little bit of wheel banging between the two of them, but in the end, it was more than a fine overtake for Super Sam Corby. And yeah, let's go and have a look on the Xbox side of things. And what an awful turn 1 for poor old Chili. He goes to Narnia, exactly the place we were expecting action tonight, but maybe not like this. Luckily, he didn't collect anyone coming through turn 3 and he definitely dropped a shed load of places in the end. Let's head to the grid, though, and find out how this race is going to be. And, yeah, formation lap underway. And Beacon, what do you reckon?
Oh, it's going to be a fun one, isn't it? You've got to say, on the face of it, Shadow is in an absolutely prime position here to capitalise on what was a poor qualifying for a lot of the grid. Yeah, he put in a really good lap himself. But yeah, really, a lot of other drivers should have been right up there. So he's absolutely going to make the most of this. If he can hold on to that P3, he might get a bit of a gap to likes of Alfie and Choco, but even if he can stay within DRS, get himself in that DRS train that we're going to have for a good chunk of this race. We're going to see some really opportunistic moves as drivers get frustrated behind, well, it's staring at someone's gearbox for probably about 20 laps at a time. It's going to be a real fun one. Their strategy is going to play a massive part as well. I'm really excited for this, but Shadow, I bet he is as well.
Yeah, the only one inside the top 10 on the mediums. Everyone outside the top 10 on the mediums as well. What we were expecting. And just a final, who's going to take victory here from you before we get underway?
Well, I'm going to go with Shadow. I think he's in the best position strategically. He's just got to try to bring it home and have a clean race, which may be easier to say than it is.
Yeah, definitely easier said than done. If there is a safety car, he is in a little bit of trouble. But let's wait for these lights. Can Alfie extend and take Findium's lead of the title, but we'll have to wait and see. Round 4 is underway, very, very close. It's 5 red lights and away we go. That wasn't very long held at all. It looks like a really good start from Shadow in the end, actually holding off Harvey, who's having to defend from Bourbon Boy into turn 1, and Clenzo desperately trying to make a move. At the moment, Shadow is trying to make an attack on Choco, but look at this, Bourbon Boy and Clenzo battling away. Harvey unable to really pull away from this. Will there be an upside move from Bourbon Boy? He does, up the inside into turn number 3. And now they're still side by side are the two drivers. Harvey somehow just the nose in front, but I think Bourbon Boy's going to have it into turn 4.
Yeah, there's a brilliant bit of freeway racing going on here. Bourbon Boy just getting pushed out there. Harvey keeping the position, currently P4. But Shadow, he's been able to hold on, and this is absolutely brilliant for him because he's just got to hug the tail of Choco now. But Harvey and Bourbon Boy, that battle looking like it may continue here as Clenzo wanting to get that P5 as well. Oxtez just having a little bit of a gap as he's coming under some pressure from Dark and Square as well. They're going to try to work their way through. We have a yellow flag as well. That's for Buraps. Not sure what's happened there. He might have had a little bit of a spin. He's got wing damage as well on his front right end plate. So, and he's a bit indecisive about coming into the pit lane as well. That's not a good start for Buraps on those medium tyres.
Not at all. And look at this, just a train coming now down into turn 1. At the moment, Alfie holding station. But like you said, and there's contact in the background between Moritz and Chili. And that is not what we want to see at all. Is that Chili around? It is. It's another turn 1 fail there for him. But let's quickly go back on board with the top drivers. As Shadow, like you've said, is hanging on in there with those medium compound tyres. But he's going to be a little bit worried about all these yellow flags hanging around because he doesn't want a safety car this early.
No, absolutely not. That is not what you want on those medium tyres at all. That is I think Square was trying to send it around the outside and Dark just keeping it on the inside. Keep it well late on the brakes because when you have that narrow entry line, it can be quite difficult. You might run deep and Square gets the cut back, but no, Dark holding the apex very well there. Lost a little bit of time to Oxtez because of it, but overall, really good defensive drive.
And Alfie starting to pull away from the Mercedes driver in the lead, and there's another Mercedes of Wilson in the background. It's going slightly wide. Fastest lap is going to Alfie. Not surprised really, but DRS is enabled this time. Let's have a look at Square as he hounds down Dark Killer. Dark Killer desperate to try and keep away, but I don't think it's going to happen this time round for Square, but he's going to probably give it a go up the inside into turn 3. Will he think of it? He will think better of it in the end. Let's go back up to Harvey as he actually looks like he's catching Shadow a little bit now.
Yeah, it does. Choco's just with DRS been able to close in on Alfie, and this is what the situation is going to be for quite a while now. Bit of DRS conservation and just basically following with the DRS. As long as you can stay within DRS, you have a chance in the pit period, especially if you're somewhere around the top 5, top 6. Yeah, this could be really interesting because if Alfie is able to just put in a brilliant lap, use a lot of DRS, somehow puts in an absolutely exceptional lap time and break DRS. I don't think that will happen unless Choco makes a little bit of a mistake here, but we could be in now for Alfie. Just got to preserve his DRS or try to break DRS.
I think it could be one of those Imola moments where, you know, we saw Alfie, Shadow, everyone that took the lead just try and just maintain the DRS or ERS standings between them all. But Harvey looking pretty strong in P4 at the moment, obviously on those soft tyres in comparison to Shadow. But I think
Shadow went a little bit deep there.
I was going to say, Shadow's gone a little bit deep and it's allowed Harvey just to gain a little bit of time on him. But look ahead, Choco may be looking at an attack on Alfie soon.
Yeah, potentially. You know, DRS is just so strong here. And Alfie, he's evidently not going to use a lot of his ERS here, and that is the better strategy long term. And it's going to be really interesting because Alfie is in that really bad position, just like in Imola again, and it's impossible to get out of because you've just got drivers behind you. All you can do is hope that they make a mistake, otherwise they're going to be sitting there conserving their ERS, just basically getting a free ride with the slipstream and DRS. And yeah, this is going to be a long run for Alfie. He's just got to make sure not to make any mistakes or present a big opportunity for Choco or even Shadow as time goes on.
That final corner from Doctor and Zach battling away down in 7th respectively. But yeah, Alfie's final corner is so much stronger than Choco.
Yeah, Bauble Boy just went a little bit deep into the corner. I think Clenzo just stuck his nose up the inside. Bauble Boy not running off the track. And I think Clenzo maybe, I'm not entirely sure what happened there. He looked like he was going a little bit too late on the brake, sensing an opportunity. And there was just a little bit of contact. So Bauble Boy losing the rear end and a couple of places to boot, but still keeping himself ahead of Dark at the moment.
Wilson and Bobberts then side by side through turn 6. And there was a little bit of a push off then from Bobberts saying, hey, this is my line. And holding the position for
Wilson
now.
Not happy. And they're giving it a little bit of a weave as well to voice his frustration and get the gravel off the tyres as well. Yeah, just caught the end of that one. That didn't look that one didn't look too great. Seeing it on this stream, yeah, just it's like, you know, when you're up against someone on the medium tyres, they are going to understeer a little bit more. But equally, I think Bobberts knew what he was doing there.
Yeah, there's a McLaren of Burraps who's retired from his car, still on track. But Choco all over the back of Alfie now. And I wonder if anyone else...
Oh, wow, that could have been worse. Harvey just tapping the back of Shadow there, under brake. You've got a bit of Constantina effect. And Harvey just braking a fraction of a second too late there. Just tapped Shadow. Oh, and wow, hang on. Clenzo just sent it down the inside. Just look behind Harvey. Clenzo sending it on the inside. And Harvey has just turned in like normal. Really light contact, but it is enough to send Clenzo sideways. And oh no, that is absolute disaster for the AlphaTauri driver.
Into P12 for Clenzo. He fitted in quite nicely in the end as he just managed to get it all set up. But Shadow is holding strong, and I think that could be Clenzo around again. Yellow flag and a VSC.
Yeah, interesting. See if anyone does come into pit lane. I doubt it at this point. Everyone also hit it quite late. Here we go. So Viper coming into pit lane. That's interesting. No one else had the opportunity is apart from Clenzo, who's obviously just had his spin, knows he's going to have to pull something out the bag here.
So I am going to go on board with Viper as he pits. I wonder if it's a front wing change. It doesn't look like there's any damage. Set of softs for Viper. Yeah. He's going for a two-stop strategy here.
Oh, he must be, yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess he wasn't one of the higher, well, not the highest running midfield drivers, so... Yeah, that's an interesting one from Viper. If we get another safety car, that's going to probably play out a treat.
Viper playing the long game then. He is smart with that. DRS is back enabled, and I think Harvey has got closer to Shadow than he has been before because of that. And a nice little exit for that. And Shadow struggled a little bit with that ending of the VSC, but no other swaps at the moment. And Alfie managed to pull a little bit of a gap out to Choco, which could save him going down the start-finish straight.
Yeah, it wasn't too long of VSC, so Shadow's tyre temperature is not going to drop too much. But of course, on those medium tyres, it is just that ever little bit harder to get temperature in those tyres when you're on the restart. So, yeah, potentially Shadow struggling a little bit there when he's, initially giving it go again. But, yeah, he's done a couple of fast corners now. Absolutely should be up to temperature. And Harvey still is tasked with the challenge of, keeping on to his gearbox.
He is in a Red Bull sandwich, is Harvey, and making sure he keeps ahead of Zach and... attack Shadow ahead. 2 challengers with him for this week as well. They are the F1 Esports challengers. And I think, it's fair to say, these guys are looking really good at the moment. Choco all over the back of Alfie, but in that, Shadow is all over the back of Choco.
Yeah, it is at the moment. That top 3 very tightly knit, and Harvey just a few tenths further back. But yeah, any mistake here, Harvey's absolutely in with it. But what Alfie's hoping for is that Shadow and Choco get into a little bit of a battle, and it does somehow break the DRS. That is Alfie's only real hope here, because Shadow, he's going to have some mega pace at the end here. And Alfie, every time he looks at his mirrors, is just going to see Shadow, just hoping that Red Bull's disappeared. But I think for the moment, Shadow knows he's just got to keep it clean, wait for the pit period, and he should have this.
Matthew setting the fastest lap down in 12th place, and he's on a set of mediums, so that is not going to be music to Alfie's ears at all. But as long as Alfie can hold off Choco, and look how close they get through turn 3, Zach is starting to put the moves on Harvey as well. I know it's Valentine's Day and all, but that could have very nearly been a move up the inside into turn 3.
Yeah, very nearly. And It's still just so close up front. Every braking zone here, it looks like they're going to just drive into the back of each other. It now is at the stage where it looks like Shadow has a little bit more grip on those heavy braking zones, able to just give it a little bit more and close in on Choco. And, Choco's a little bit wide there. He's just gone a little bit deep. He's compromised his line. If Shadow wanted to, no, he does not. He did not give it a go. I said if he wanted to there, chuck on ERS, he absolutely could get that move done. But choosing not to give it a go for the moment. He's happy with P3, not wanting to take any big risks at the moment, especially since he knows he is absolutely playing the long game here.
Apologies. Shadow in the advantage of the race at the moment, you've got to say, in P3. But as I think Square and Dark Killer are trading places coming down into turn 3.
Yeah, giving it a real go there, and that is Square able to get past Dark as well. Good move, nice and clean, exactly what you want to see, textbook move. And now Dark might want to be looking behind him because Wilson is going to be right on his tail soon. Yeah, just not looking like Dark Killer has the pace at the moment to keep those guys, well, behind him definitely. But he's got to see now if he can try to cling on with them, use the DRS well. Maybe he's starting to struggle with the tyres a little bit. We're going to start to see some pit stops soon from the soft runners, give it a few more laps. But yeah, Dark looking like he's struggling at the moment. Just a little bit of oversteer and understeer. We're not going to do the meme of the only car to oversteer and understeer at the same time. But yeah, Dark not having a great day at the moment.
Shadow looking very close to the back end of that Mercedes coming up the straight into turn 1. But nothing to it at the moment. And Alfie holding station, but only just. I think this could be a move time for at least Shadow on Choco, because he gets agonisingly close, but then drops off a little bit.
Close it. Whoa, yeah, Choco closed massively though on Alfie there. And I think for a second Choco was thinking, right, well, I've got to take the defensive line, but does that put Alfie off when Alfie might think that Choco's going for the move, and you never know, if Choco was close enough, he might well have gone for the move. So yeah, that was probably the closest we've seen to an overtake for the lead here. And Dark on Wilson, or Wilson on Dark, sorry, going side by side. Wilson round the outside. That is a brilliant move from Wilson, the Mercedes driver, using that wider line to his advantage. Absolutely brilliant stuff. And Dark, he really is struggling.
Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't seen Dark throw it in the pits yet. He's obviously got a little bit of trouble with keeping those tyres into battle. But Wilson making it clear in the end. And I think we're going to see some pits.
Yeah, absolutely. Square, the first drive to come into the pits there from the leading pack. Yeah, maybe a lap or two earlier than we'd have expected. But yeah, this will be an interesting one as Dark comes in as well.
Yeah, so what we expect, well, we expected Dark to come in sooner rather than later. He was struggling a little bit, unfortunately. But Shadow getting, look at that, Choco getting very close to the back end of Alfie, and likewise for Shadow on Choco. But really a little bit of a struggle for them to get the grip and the power down at turn 3. Well, the guys on the softs in comparison to Shadow.
Yeah, it's looking like it at the moment. Those medium tyres coming into their own. Lap after lap, that Delta edging more and more towards those medium tyres' favour. And I think Shadow, he's going to have a little bit of fun in a bit. But also, Choco, if he can stay close enough to Alfie, I think that's his only chance of keeping Shadow behind. And even then, it may only be for a lap or two. Shadow might, even before pitting onto those soft tyres, be in the lead of the race. And this is Choco coming into the pit lane then.
Yeah, a little fake. Look at that. Shadow nearly hitting the back end of Choco. He definitely didn't want to lose the... Yeah, I was going to say, he definitely... Oh,
no penalty. Yeah.
Not what he would have wanted at all. At all for Choco.
And double stack at Mercedes as well. Wilson, he's going to lose that position to Dark, because Dark has the undercut, and then Wilson was held in the pits. That is not good communication from the Mercedes drivers at all.
Not at all. Viper then up into P14 on those softs.
Oh, they're through. Hang on. They've just... Placky, Matthew and Bofforts have just gone 3 wide into turn 3. Just caught the end of that. That was absolutely brilliant. I have no idea how that didn't end in a crash.
And Matthew up the inside of Bobbitt, not Bobbitt, sorry, Placky, and somehow holding on to the position up the inside, and way before turn 6, you're holding it nicely. And Matthew then up into P6. It looks like Placky's struggling a little bit on those medium compound tyres. Maybe caught a little bit of dirt when he went 3 wide.
Yeah, potentially. If you run offline, you do just pick up a bit of the dirty stuff on the tyres, and it does not help one bit. But Placky may be here. potentially give it another lap or so, but he could be one of the first drivers we're starting to see on those medium tyres just beginning to struggle. Matthew actually used all of his allocated DRS for that lap. So he was really giving it a go. Oh, he's got really wide at turn 1, just massively overcooked the corner there. Broken as well, following in front. I think almost all of them. Oh, shit, no, yeah.
Lead. He's taken it into before turn 3. Sorry to cut you off. I know there was action elsewhere as well, but Alfie struggling a little bit then on the pace of those tyres on the softs, and Shadow picked him off with relative ease, but he's going back at him around the outside into turn 4. Will the switchback be on? I don't think there's enough grip on those tyres to do it, and Alfie now has a lot of work to do. Does he stay in the DRS, or does he pop in this lap?
Yeah, that's the question, because he knows Shadow's going to have the advantage at the end of the race. Everything he can do to slightly lessen that advantage is going to help. But look, he's lost 6 tenths already. The question is, does it? Yeah, he's coming in. Yeah, the only question would have been, does he stay out for it? Oh.
Zach's around, I should say. Is there damage to his car? Again, sorry to cut you off, but he's now having to go into the pits. Turn 9, is it?
No damage by the looks of it.
Oh, so he saved himself that front, but everyone else is pitting. But Shadow now leads away by 4 seconds to Matthew. And Matthew wide out of turn 1 again. And Placky all over the
Chili's
back
made a mistake as well. Yeah, Chili's made a mistake, so he's back round, and yeah, he's not going to trigger. And Matthew, yeah, there we go. Placky making the move very easy there. Very simple move in the end, and Matthew's going to try to get the better. Oh, a little bit of a tap as well for Placky as we exit turn 3, but I think that should be Placky's P2, unless Matthew has a lot of overspeed here. No, he does not, so that's Placky got it. And Chili retiring from the race. He had that spin, he's come into the pit lane and retired as well.
Zach down in 18th place, 4 seconds off Colenso. That's how bad his spins put him. Where is Alfie? Behind Viper. Alfie's behind Viper. Only, just close, just ahead of Darkkiller. That's how much it's costing. Darkkiller's undercut has worked an absolute treat.
Yeah, absolutely there. And, wow, this is an interesting one because Alfie... Yeah, Alfie here's got to try to clear this pack as quickly as possible. Obviously, that should go without saying, but it is so important now. He wanted a lot of clean air to come out into a couple of seconds worth, but it's just not there. Maybe, if the pace of this pack is good enough, he's going to have a bit of a chance because they're all on fresher tyres in Shadow. But that advantage not going to be quite what it would have been.
Bobbitt's and Matthew side by side coming down from 1 to 3. Still in the inside line is Matthew, trying to hold it and cause Bobbitt's problems, and Broken just behind as well. They're still battling away, and still somehow side by side as they dart down to turn 4. Will Matthew have the inside line and hold it this time round? Bobbitt's will try the switch back on him. I don't think there's enough grip on the car, though the back end of the Haas does step out. Bobbitt's can't hold it around there, and interestingly, something that we've not mentioned is Choco in front of Square, Viper, and then Alfie.
Yeah, that's worked really well for him. Unfortunately, he has got that penalty though, so that's going to lose him quite a few places come the end of this race, you'd imagine. And yeah, that's a real stinger when you know you've got to drive with that. He'll be hoping for a safety car to try to remove it from his name. As we see coming into the pit lane, we have Broken at the moment. So the first of those medium runners to come into the pits, which is an interesting one. And yeah, you'd assume he's going to go on to those softs for the end here. And he's gone on hards now. So yeah, Broken going on some hard tyres here. I was going to say, that'd be a long way to go. So yeah, maybe trying a bit of a different strategy here.
Alfie getting through Alfie getting through Viper, and Harvey getting through Darkkiller, all in that final bit there. And that's not what Viper would have wanted. He's desperate. I think he's desperately waiting for another safety car. But I wonder if... Oh, look, just ahead. Square, Alfie and Choco. Alfie's got through Square, and that is big on Alfie's point of view, and that's exactly what he would have wanted.
He's going to get Choco as well. Yeah, this is round the outside, little bit of wheel banging. But Alfie, it looks like he's got more grip on the exit of the corner, 2 lap fresher tyres, and that might just be enough for Alfie. It absolutely is. That's a phenomenal move round the outside.
Just wow from Alfie. Definitely trying to do something in comparisons to Shadow's, well, strategy of sheer brilliance of mediums from the qualifying. But as we all see it all happen, I think maybe Viper and Harvey, well, CRT boys trying to help each other out a little bit, but at the moment, Viper is holding up Harvey. Let's have a look just up ahead, and let's see this battle. Oh, I don't really want to get away from this battle because Choco, Square and Alfie looking very, very close, and I think actually Square might make a move on Choco.
potentially here, but Choco also closing and closing ever more on Alfie. Not quite enough, braking a little bit earlier than he would have wanted there, risking some contact like there was behind between Harvey and Viper. Harvey diving it up the inside on that soft runner, just not got the grip anymore. He was one of the first drivers to pit after picking up some damage, and it's all just gone a little bit downhill from there. And, oh, there we go. Dark, I think, trying to send it around the outside. He's just got a little twitch of oversteer on the exit, and that's sort of scuppered that plan.
Yeah, not what he would have wanted at all. Alfie just doesn't have the full out pace to pull away from Choco. They're very, very close on pace, and I'm desperately not to look at Dark Killer all over the back of Viper, side by side, coming down into turn 9. And that is a relatively easy move for Killer, and he's done it in quite some style.
Yeah, Choco pick up another penalty as well. Bob was picking up himself a penalty. This is going to be such a big factor as this race goes on. In fact, I'm going to have a quick check at the race direct to see what everyone's on. Ooh, that's wide. Oh, big mistake in the wall. Massive mistake there. A little bit of unsteer on the entry. There's a little bump on the exit corner. It's just completely caught Choco out. Oh, that race has just gone from pretty poor to absolutely disastrous there.
Not what Choco would have wanted at all. No front wing on that Mercedes, and he's got a
he's going to retire shortly.
limp home for him, and such a shame. He was showing he had some really good pace as well. It does allow Square loose on Alfie, and I wonder what will happen here. Will Square have anything up his sleeve? But if everything goes how it does, Shadow's still got to overtake people to take the victory here, and that is not... It's not relative. Well, the pace these guys have, it's not that easy. Into the pits then for Mel, as he comes from P6. Probably a set of softs now, surely, for the end for him, but still a long, long old time on those softs if he is going to do that. It'll be an interesting strategy if it's a hards again, but no, it is softs. Let's go and have a board view with Matthew as he closed down Placky, but there's just not enough in the end.
No, not quite enough to make the move. We have a yellow flag out there on track, so that's Choco coming into the pit lane, and that is it's a real disaster for him. Just a massive mistake, stemming from a very small one, and yeah, unfortunately out of the race for the Mercedes driver. Without those penalties, was on for a very good result as Square getting past Connor there. Decent move as we head into the corner. Nicely done. Connor looking like he's struggling quite a bit here, and he's just sort of getting out of the way and letting these guys go. I think it's not really worth the fight.
Yeah, just seeing Matthew as well overtake Placky. That was a good, strong pace from him. And into the pits goes Matthew, Placky and Bobberts by the looks of things, with Moritz sticking out, nearly hitting the back end of Bobberts there, because very similar to what Shadow did. Shadow stuck it out as well. And surely, where is Alfie going to come out of all this? He's 7/10 clear of Square at the moment, with Square and Harvey battling away just behind. Dark Killer in 8th. Well, he's now jumping up a few places because of that into 6th place. And he's 8/10 behind Harvey, the other challenger. And Viper now 3 seconds. He's lost 3 seconds and is now holding up Wilson, Bourbon and Broken.
Yeah, but not for much longer, I don't think, as Wilson gets the move done even before the corner. Such easily done. It's those soft tyres, they just do not have the grip anymore compared to these relatively fresh medium runners. And it's interesting to see what Broken can do, because he's really dropped off that pack now that he was sort of with a little bit earlier on. It's yeah, it's interesting. He's going to struggle a little bit here, because I think Mel's going to get the job done in a minute.
Yeah, Viper holding up Bourbon Boy with absolute sheer determination. It's allowing Wilson to just pull away a little bit, and will Bourbon Boy do? He thinks better of it. I thought he was going to try up the inside out of 6.
Brave.
But yeah, Viper just going quite slowly now. I'm surprised he hasn't pitted, but into the pits is Shadow and Moritz. Where does Shadow come out?
Yeah, that's going to be the interesting question here. Keep an eye out for Alfie as he's heading... Where is Alfie now? Yeah, he's up well ahead. So Shadow's going there. And yeah, he's quite far behind. But how far is he off the leader? Let me have a quick look at that. So he's only got... I don't know, I mean, that's quite a lot. 7.5 seconds to close in, but he's got quite a lot of laps to do it. Connor retiring from the session, out the race. Coming into the pit lane, not good at all on that front. And they've got Matthew making a move on Broken as well. That is the state of those hard tyres. That was an interesting strategy, I think, from the start. As then Bobberts finds his way through very easily. But here we go, Shadow. He's already closed in half a second, but he's got quite a lot of work to do.
Placky up the inside of Cleanso as well. Cleanso just doesn't have the same grip levels as Placky's softs fresh softs they are. So interesting this, Viper being hounded by Shadow. Where does Shadow get past? Viper is just holding up that Red Bull. It's going to be a very, very slow final few corners for Shadow because Viper is on 14 lap old softs and he really is causing that Red Bull a lot of time lost, but he still has DRS to Bourbon Boy ahead, so he's going to stay ahead for the time being. And Viper somehow holding station, but I don't think it's going to last for much longer.
No, that should be it, as in terms of defence. Look how late Shadow's going to be able to brake here. He's alongside as we approach the braking zone, and he's just going to... Oh, actually, no, Shadow's gone so late. It's not so Shadow. Viper's gone so late on the brakes there. Just forced Shadow off the track completely. I'm not sure that was worth it at all. But Shadow, he was 7.5 seconds starting that previous lap. It was 7.8 as he crossed the line, so he's lost a lot of time there. But it's already down to 7 with that DRS, but just pushed wide by Viper there. Not sure what was going on at all.
Viper looked like he went for a fake lunge up the inside of Shadow into turn 4 as well, and nearly actually cut the back end of it. But it was very, very, very close to the back end of Shadow. Shadow now all over the back of Bourbon Boy. I wonder what this is going to do. Through into turn 9 and 10. He's just got so much more pace on those softs. He's already dispatched of the Alpine driver into P6 for Shadow.
Yeah, neat move. Easily done against a medium runner, and he's got quite a few more of those to go. And the gap is now 6.3 seconds. So going down lap by lap here. Question is there enough laps to do it? Is he going to get held up behind someone? Or will contact ruin his plans? For Viper, he's just lost 2 more to Matthew and Bobbert. So I think a pit stop may be due.
Yeah, it's definitely got to come in soon. And it's broken. Then going to get dispatched by Clenzo surely into turn 4. Up the inside for the medium runner. And there's nothing Broken can do about that. His race has gone from bad to worse. I'm not sure what the strategy was for mediums or whether it was a game making a mistake. And Viper and Plackett going side by side around turn 6. And Viper's made contact. Oh, I say Viper's made contact. Sorry, they've made contact. I don't want to implicate that Viper was the force of contact there. That was not what I meant at all. But let's go back up to the front of this then. It's Alfie leading from Square, leading from Harvey, leading from Killer. And they've got 3.7 gap to this man, Wilson, and Shadow.
Yeah, gap now down to 5.5. It is all closing in, and this is going to be such an easy move for Shadow. Got the DRS. Wilson absolutely nothing to defend with. He knows it's not worth the fight. Not that he has much ERS to play with anyway, but I'm pretty sure he's his goal in this race now is keeping Bourbon Boy behind him to the end. And for Shadow, I think he's got slightly different goals in.
Yeah, you're almost certain Shadow has different goals, and that one, number 1, I think, is what he's looking for. As look at the line taken differently between Matthew and Matthew and Mel there through turn 4. That's an interesting one. A 5-second penalty for Zach, and I'm pretty sure I've cursed him after saying I thought he was going to get pole. He's now out of the race. We've lost 5 drivers: Burraps, Chili, Choco, and Connor and Zach Oates. Colenso picking up another penalty in 12th place there. Not the night he would have wanted at all. Started well, but ended, unfortunately, horrid so far. Let's go on board with the leaders again. The gap between the top 4 and 5th place man, Shadow, is 3 seconds still.
Yeah, 4.5 between Shadow and P1. It is still coming down very quickly as well. But Shadow does need to get quite a few overtakes out of the way, and he's going to be overtaking people who, very importantly, also have DRS. So yes, he's got a lot more grip, and it will help him. But are there enough laps for this to work?
Lap 26 of 36, and there goes Broken leaving the session. I don't know if that was mental or not, but it looks like it has. He's on, well, pretty much stationary at the end of turn 1. He's not had the night to remember, and now we're down to 15, well, technically 14 drivers.
Yeah, at the moment, yeah, it's not going well for Broken as he's gone. Viper as well, just well out of it at the moment, nowhere near with that strategy. It was worth a go. If safety car came out, he was right back in it, but yeah, unfortunately for him, the race has not gone his way today at all. And Shadow now 3.5 seconds off the lead, so closing in about a second a lap at the moment. He's going to be right on the back of this train in just another 2 or 3 laps time. This is going to be one hell of an end.
It definitely is, but none of the top 3 really want to make a move. I think Square might have a think. Oh, he just gets really close to the back end. I just wanted to have a quick look at the battle for P8 between, well, P7 between Bourbon, Matthew, Mel, and Bobbits. But Square trying his best. Defensive from Alfie coming into turn 4, and this is only going to help Shadow in his quest to get up to these guys and overtake them and possibly take victory.
Yeah, at the moment it's looking that way, and yeah, Shadow, he's pulled in already 8/10 this lap, so he is right there. They start battling, he is in with the Shadow. I mean, he already is, let's be honest, but he's going to absolutely be right there. Not DRS this lap, but maybe next. Well, I'll tell you what, if he gets a good couple of corners here, there's half a chance. And it's not. Oh, is it just? Is it just? He just about got DRS there.
So, the fastest man on track, I think we can say, right now has joined the train for the lead of this race on lap 28 of 36. Can Shadow dispatch of the 4 drivers? It looks like Harvey's going to try and get on Square. But Square's gone up the inside of Alfie, and that's not what Alfie would have wanted at all. He's now side by side, nearly pushed out wide by Square, but they're still side by side coming down. Oh no, Alfie has lost the lead, and will he try and dart it up the inside because he's got to defend from Harvey here?
Yeah, this is going to be really tricky, and Alfie losing the lead of the race to Square here. He's controlled it for a very long time, and now Square just flexing his muscles a little bit, knowing with Shadow right at the back here, track position may be more important than getting that DRS. And I think Shadow in just a moment is gonna have Dark. It's gonna depend on how good an exit he can get from turn 1, but he is right on the back of that Williams. And I tell you what, he might be getting a move done before turn 1, but no, Dark using some ERS there very wisely indeed. He knows that Shadow's not really going to want to go for the move at turn 1, but if he presents the opportunity, it will happen, and look at that. Shadow getting a great exit. Here he comes, but Dark just blocking off his line, forcing Shadow to lift a little bit, and you tell you what, that might have actually saved him a corner or two. Shadow sending it right down the inside here, being very careful not to make contact with Harvey. He does not. He's going to get the better exit. And there we go, that's a really neat move. Despite Dark's best efforts, there's not much else he could have done there.
Not at all. 3-second penalty for Viper there. And Dark dropping out, and there's a little bit of lag from Shadow.
Yeah, lag here. I'm not entirely sure what that was then. Got a little bit concerned. Dark had just ploughed into the back of him, but yeah, still facing the right way.
We saw some horrendous lag, I believe, here last season as well. Some weird stuff happening. Maybe it is just Austria, but now Shadow's next. Victim, we should say, is Harvey, and look at this, he's already all over the back of him, and then his championship rival, or one of them at least, is Alfie just ahead of the Ferrari in front of him. So let's see what kind of final corner he makes. And lap 6 against lap 14, old mediums. I know which tyres I would prefer to be on right now.
Yeah.
And, you could probably split these top 5 with a piece of paper, and Shadow already up the inside of Harvey, and
wow.
Still side by side though.
Oh, Alfie going for the move down the inside as well on Square. There's a little bit of contact as Shadow just forced to slow down a little bit more after contact. Oh, there's more contact as well mid-corner. That was all a little bit messy as Shadow just connecting with the rear end of Harvey there, causing him to a little bit of a half spin. And look at this run from Dark. He's up the inside of Shadow. If he can pull this one off, that could be the end of Shadow's chances, but no, not quite. This is all getting really tense now because it's Alfie and Square ahead. This is the crux of the battle.
And it's still side by side in the background between Harvey and Dark. These two want a little bit of screen time, and I'm pretty certain they deserve it with everything going on. Will Dark Killer hold the position? I think he might do, but it's going to be a really tight turn 9. And I think Harvey backs out in the end. Probably the wisest choice he could have done, but here comes Shadow then. 1/10 of a second behind Alfie. How is this going to...
Yeah, Shadow's got a lot less ERS to play with, though. He's got a lot less ERS than Alfie and Square. They knew this battle was going to come. Square using a lot of his ERS now, just down this straight as a long run up into the hill at turn 3. Alfie, I thought he was going to go for it then, potentially going to send a dive. He's just pushed Square a little bit deep though on entry there, just a little bit of a tap on the rear wing, and Shadow, no chance getting this move done. Are we going to see Square and Alfie potentially working a little bit together here? Just make sure they're too wide into the entry in most corners, should block Shadow off from having much of a chance.
Yeah, and just behind Harvey and Dark Killer. I feel so sorry for those two because they're putting on a massive show behind. And but Shadow, Alfie and Square are just putting an incredible one on up front as well. Holding up Shadow. He is desperately trying to get his way through, but there's just nothing he can do. Those two cars in front of him are like a London bus right now.
Yeah, but this may be a bus that's about to reach its stop. We're going to have to wait and see because Shadow still absolutely got the pace. Question is just, can they block this track well enough? I'll tell you what, Shadow's got a phenomenal exit here, using a bit of VRS. Oh, God, I thought for a second there they might be free wide into turn 1. That would never, ever end well, but Shadow keeping all 4 wheels on track, and I'll tell you what, he's already ahead of Alfie. If he can get good braking here, Square might want to try to box him in and give Alfie a chance, because it's better for his long-term race. We're going to have to wait and see. Alfie's still on the inside line. Oh, is that contact between Alfie and Square?
No, I think it was very close. I think it was more Shadow and Square that caused the action.
Oh, they're really pushing it.
Oh my goodness, surely not.
Wow. Oh, free wide. Wow.
This is going to end badly, and it's Shadow
yeah.
that's around, and his race is turned on upside down, and that is not what he would have wanted at all. And Alfie and Shadow, is it, oh my goodness, I don't know which one. Contact.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You could. I sort of went silent there, expecting something to happen, and it really did. That was being Albon, I think, but with another car on the inside. Shadow, I mean, yeah, he was closing the door, but I don't know. It's a real tough one. I think that's going to go solely down to a racing incident as well. That's really tough luck.
So, Shadow down to 10th place. We saw this last season from him with his title battle with Ronha. But it's not over yet. Dark Killer did pick up a 3-second time penalty. Alfie trying to go up the inside. Will Harvey try and take a victory here? I mean, he's kept himself relatively quiet. I mean, he is showing some crazy pace as Mel passes Matthew as well. But up the inside, surely not from Alfie. But Alfie and Square seeming to be a little bit more, calmer this time.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just waiting for the chance here. And Alfie is going to want, I imagine, DRS on lap 34, so he has it on lap 36, yeah. So that's why he didn't go for the move last time out. But I swear to God, if we see another go at the DRS... oh! That's massive. I was going to mention earlier on, Alfie was on 2 warnings. He has just picked up his 3rd. That is absolutely massive. Just a little twitch of a bit of understeer, and he had to correct it. It's just gone oh so wrong there for Alfie, picking up that penalty, and that is going to drop him nearly all the way down to P. Mel could be on for P4 here if he could just find a couple more attempts.
Alfie will have to start maybe trying to think
he might go for P3. Mel could go for P3.
Wow. Alfie will have to start thinking about a move on Square relatively quickly. Let's have a look on Harvey's point of view. Alfie does look up the inside, but there's nothing to it on this occasion, and Wilson gets past Mel.
Wilson could be on for P3.
Battle for P3 with Mel, Wilson, Matthew and Bobberts. Bobberts out of it because of his penalties, but you know, this could cost them massively for the battle for the podium. Mel holding station for Matthew at the moment. Wilson desperate. Wilson was desperate for the overtake on Matthew, and it didn't happen in the end.
No, not quite. And yeah, I tell you what, currently, Mel, P3. It is currently by about 100th of a second, so it's going to be quite tight come the end of this race. But Alfie, absolutely willing Square to find some pace now, because otherwise he's going to be in trouble. He's going to lose quite a few places.
The penultimate lap is just about to start. Square leads Alfie from Harvey. It's the top 3, with Dark Killer making it the top 4. But 2 seconds back from this battle for the lead is Mel, Matthew, Wilson and Bobberts. And Bourbon Boy. Shadow is also there, and Placky, and also Moritz. So anything is possible out of that gaggle of cars behind. But, oh my goodness.
Wow, that's crazy. Oh, Matthew go for the move on Mel up the inside at turn 3. Do they know that this squabbling is going to cost them a position? It certainly might have there, because Matthew making a mistake, it's going to cost him 3 places. And I should also, currently the top 12 are separate. Well, actually, Marissa made a mistake there, but currently the top 11 are separated by 5 seconds.
Yeah, there was I just saw a Ferrari drifting, doing some maybe rally driving across in the grass somewhere along there. Viper getting the fastest lap of the race. I was waiting for that one to happen, to be honest. But look at this. Shadow trying to go up the inside of Bourbon Boy into turn 9. He has done. Oh, wow. What a move from Shadow. He hasn't let the red mist descend, and he's just getting on with it.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely at the moment. And he might, Shadow's still within half chance of picking up Dark's place. He'll definitely pick up Bobbert's place. So, yeah, there's still a few points on the board for Shadow, but it's a tough one, isn't it? Because it could have been such better. Alfie goes for the move on square. Not that it matters too much because he's got that penalty to contend with. And, Harvey and Square side by side. That's the important battle at the moment. This is the battle for the lead. Square still has it, but Harvey's going to have the outside line here. Could give him a better slingshot and the inside line into the double left-hander coming up. Here we go. Square just pushing him a little bit wide. And I tell you what, I think Square has it now. That was a robust defence, but he might still have it.
Yeah, that is what he would have wanted. Somehow we're on lap 36 of 36. Alfie's going to win on track. Bobbitt and Wilson move it, changing places. But let's see if Harvey does anything into turn 9. Does he have anything? He's got a load of overspeed. He's trying to go around the outside of turn 9. Harvey thinks better off it. But wide from Square.
Oh. I thought he was going to send up the inside at the final corner there. That would not have ended well. And I assume a penalty probably would have come his way because I can't see a way that wouldn't end in contact. So yeah, very much the clean move. Yeah, wow. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant stuff. And we end that race, top 10, separated by 4.7 seconds.
How has this race ended so close? Square wins by 0.2 of a second from Harvey. And what a race those... Well, I'll give Harvey and Dartkiller absolutely full credit. They were going tooth and nail into it. Some great driving between the two of them. And it was unfortunate for Dartkiller to pick up that penalty. But while we wait for all this to bash down and finally get to the timing screen at the end, who was your driver of the day, please, Beacon?
Wow. Yeah, that's a tough one today because there's been so many almost perfect drives out there. But look, Mel going from, what would that have been, P16 all the way up to P4. Absolutely brilliant stuff. And only lost out on a podium by 0.6 of a second. I think it's got to go to Mel for me.
Yeah, that is... I mean, let's have a quick look at the positional changes.
Matthew as well doing really well. Square doing phenomenally well. Honestly, there's so many drivers that did such a good job.
Difficult to choose a driver of the day, really. But yeah, I think I'll follow suit with you, Mel. It's agonisingly so close to a podium as well. Are these guys still driving, or is this the AI causing battles? I'm not sure.
Maritz is doing donuts at the final corner, that's why. As he waits for Maritz and Viper doing some donuts at the final corner, that's why the race hasn't ended.
They want some screen time, is it? That's what
they do.
Right then, we'll wait to see if there are... Oh, here we go. I've been kicked, so it's all good. Let's move over to the podium questions and have a look at this. Hopefully we'll get some people in this week. Some great driving. Harvey and Mel and Shadow. I know he had that incident, but some great recovery drives, and definitely not what we expected. But we had some great battles throughout, haven't we?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And for the most part, they were incredibly clean. We saw some great racing. That absolutely flew by as well. Got to love a race at Austria because it's always good.
Yeah, somehow Austria is just huge. Now, I think we are, and we do have Shadow. I think, is that Shadow in the waiting for interview book? I'm going to say it is because it's VSR. So let's bring him in and have a chat. Oh, I tried to pull him in, but it didn't work. Let's see if that will work. And Beacon, I'll let you do the honour of the podium question for Shadow. Not Shadow, for Square.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely brilliant drive there today. Honestly, at what point did you realise that race genuinely could go your way?
Well, I'm not gonna lie. When I pitted and then saw everyone else stay out like 3 more laps, I was like, oh dear, if I pulled another SLC. But yeah, as soon as I was like in that front pack and I got alongside Choco, who was obviously running in P2, it was pretty much just knowing that I was in the lead battle, but I didn't think I'd be able to actually pull it through because obviously the tyres being so much more worn than everyone else's. But yeah, I think the penalty from Alfie definitely helped a lot because it meant I could use him as a kind of like a pull along to keep myself in front of Harvey. But yeah, I'm happy with the race, and obviously everyone that was in the party with me was kind kind of really helping me along. It was really, really good, and yeah, got to say big thanks to them because they were the one that made that strategy call.
Well, yeah, absolutely. As well, and what's your take on what happened with Shadow?
If I'm honest, I couldn't actually see much because obviously I was looking forwards and I was kind of in front going into the corners, so I didn't really see much. I assume it was kind of 3 wide and Alfie kind of got squeezed, but I have to see it before I kind of say anything. But yeah, obviously I think that race probably would have been Shadow's if he'd have got past either one of us really, because he was on the softs and he was obviously going to be quicker. But so yeah, it was very unlucky from him. But yeah, obviously from my end, I wasn't too sad. Well, obviously I wasn't too sad to see him spin because obviously he was probably going to run away with it. So in the end, it worked out for me. But obviously, I don't really want to see that happen because obviously I like a good race, and I don't want to see people backwards, stuff like that. So yeah.
No, but yeah, overall really good. Yeah, really well done. Yeah, then Wardrobe, if you've got anything.
Like, I know you've already you've said you thought you may have pitted a little bit early, but then all of a sudden the leading pack was behind you. You were obviously close to Choco, and then Alfie out of nowhere took a couple of places, was quite ruthless in his way. Did you think, oh my goodness, he's going to bomb away now before Choco's mistake, and you were able just to keep up with him?
In a way, I knew that he was quicker. He was obviously he got pole. He was obviously going to run away with it if there was no DRS. But the DRS is just so powerful at Austria that it's basically impossible, even if you're like a second quicker. So I did make a bit of a mistake letting Alfie through. I didn't mean to because obviously I was then third in the train. But yeah, and then I think Choco made a mistake at Turn 1, which kind of put me back into P2, and that was all I needed really. And then I was back in like the perfect position. So I think there was a couple of places where I made a few mistakes in terms of like the defending stuff like that, but I think they actually ended up working for me in the end. So I can't really complain too much.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Square, for coming to join us. I mean, any final words from you before we round out the show?
Not too much. I just want to say thanks to Loveland, Fresh, Rizzy, and Jan really, because they were the ones that were helping me along in that race, and yeah, they were just as much as have won this as me. So yeah, I'm thankful for them.
Okay, brilliant. Now, Beacon, we're waiting for Harvey to throw himself into the waiting room as well. So we'll have Harvey join us hopefully. But give us a few of your thoughts for that race as a whole.
Well, it was, yeah, like I said a bit before, it was an absolutely brilliant race, and for the most part, really clean. And strategy, like we thought right at the start of qualifying, it was going to play a massive part, and yeah, in the end it did. And with a stroke of luck, I think the soft starters maybe just slightly benefited from it.
Now, we do have the Challenger man in the comms box with us as well. Harvey, welcome. Congratulations on second place there. I'll hand over to Beacon for some grilling. I mean, podium questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, just check your name. See you on mute. But yes, Harvey, really well done today. Absolutely brilliant race. And just yeah, what are your key thoughts from the race? You had plenty of action to take out of.
Yeah, I mean, I bottled quali a little bit, which didn't help with my start. But yeah, it was kind of a great long race battle with, the guys at the front, just kind of sticking in the DRS train, making sure I had DRS to spare. Was going to pounce on the last lap with Square, but, he had the inside covered and we had a nice battle. Bit annoying not to get P1, but still more than happy with P2.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also Square making a little bit of a mistake at the penultimate corner. Was there ever a thought of just, the temptation to just send it down the inside?
Yeah, I mean, there was, but I wanted just to play safe and make sure, we both finished, then both of us not.
Yeah, I think that's probably the right decision as well. But yeah, I think that's all I've got.
Fantastic. Harvey, you were having your own battle with Dark Killer at the time of the incident, but you were, front row seats to the 3-wide battle going into turn number 4. What was your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to comment on it because I don't know what to say. even though I had a front row seat, I guess you could say, I couldn't clearly or see clearly enough what actually went on. I just saw it was 3 wide, and yeah, going 3 wide into that corner is always going to be a bit of chaos.
That definitely is true. You had some great battles though, Harvey. I mean, do you have a favourite one for all that? Because obviously yourself and Square, yourself and Alfie, yourself and Shadow, yourself and, the list goes on. Obviously Dark Killer there as well. Was there anything, any stuck out in your memory that you thought was the best?
Probably my battle with Dark, because, it's a move that, you don't usually go for, and in those sequence of corners, and battling like that could have easily gone wrong for that many laps. But yeah, it was definitely a good battle, and we kept it clean, which was nice.
Fantastic. Well, thank you both to Square and Harvey for coming in to say hello for the interviews. We've got no one else, unfortunately. Beacon, thank you again for your commentary with me this week. Any final words before we head off?
Apart from the traditional thank you to all of the drivers, it was an absolutely brilliant performance, absolutely flew by, and thank you to everyone for watching.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal end of the race. Oh, well, phenomenal race in general. That race just never seemed to, start. The race, it just went 36 laps. Absolutely phenomenal. We are back next week for the Netherlands Grand Prix. I believe I got that right. Fingers crossed. Anyway, so we've got that next week and all the other action happening this week at WOR. Please check over on the Twitter account for all the information that you'll need. But from myself, Beacon, and the other finishers tonight, thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.